This episode of the Butt Chronicles, we cover Beavis and Butt-Head episode 12, Customers Suck.
Welcome to Industrial Industries World Radio's The Butt Chronicles.
You said welcome.
Oh God.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen and butt munches alike. Welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. In this episode, we're going to cover Beavis and Butt-Head episode 12, Customers Suck. It first aired on May 20th, 1993 on MTV. That's about all you need to know. So now let's go on and figure out what happened in Beavis and Butt-Head episode 12, Customers Suck. We start in Beavis and Butt-Head's house as the boys watch TV. The opening sequence of the Brady Bunch plays, and Butt-Head says, "Whoa, check it out, the bunch." The boys headbang to the Brady Bunch theme song. Beavis flashes his butt at the TV, and then he says, "The bunch sucks." "Yeah, I don't like stuff that sucks. Let's watch something cool," says Butt-Head. Next, we cut to an outside shot of Burger World. Cars are honking as they're wrapped around the building as they wait in line and drive-thru. Inside, Beavis and Butt-Head are in the cook area, standing by the fryers. As the phone on the wall rings, Butt-Head says, "Let's fry something." Beavis says, "Check it out," as he picks up the receiver of the phone and drops it into the hot oil of the fryer. Beavis then says, "Cook, cook, cook." The boys laugh and Butt-Head says, "Grease is cool." Outside in the Burger World drive-thru is Principal McVicker, the principal of Highland High School. He's an older bald man with glasses, sitting in his car, wearing a gray suit and green necktie. McVicker yells into the drive-thru speaker,
Hello? I'd like a cheeseburger with no ketchup. And I'll also have,
Cut back to the boys inside by the fryers, and Butt-Head is cringing from McVicker's voice blaring into his headset. Over the headset, McVicker's voice yells,
chicken sandwich, no tomato, and, extra mayonnaise.
We cut back to McVicker in his car, and he continues his order by saying,
and some onion rings with no salt. And...
"Shut up," Butt-Head's voice blares from the drive-thru speaker. Principal McVicker looks confused for a second, then he continues ordering.
I also want a large orange soda with no ice and,
"Shut up and go away," Butt-Head's voice says from the speaker. Principal McVicker then asks,
Did you get all that?
Butt-Head's voice comes over the speaker and says, "We're like closed or something. Go away." Principal McVicker then drives off. Back inside, the boys still standing by the fryers. Butt-Head says, "That was cool." "Customers suck. Check this out," says Beavis, as he then pulls the phone receiver out of the fryer. It's now a melted mess, as the receiver is playing a warped automated message from the other end. Beavis holds the melted receiver up to his ear and he says, "Welcome to the world. May I help you?" The boys both laugh and Butt-Head says, "You're pretty cool, Beavis." Next, we see Beavis working at the front counter by the cash register as a customer is standing in front of him asking a question. This customer is Mr. Stevenson, the father of Stuart Stevenson. Stuart is a kid that we'll see plenty of in future episodes. Mr. Stevenson is dressed in a white shirt and black pants. He asks Beavis, "Are your shakes made with real milk and ice cream, or do you use that reconstituted shake mix stuff?" Beavis stands there silent for a second or two, and then replies with, "Yeah." Mr. Stevenson then asks, "What do you mean? Yeah, you use the shake mix, or yeah, you use the real stuff?" "Yeah." Hey, Beavis replies. Mr. Stevenson then asks to talk to the manager. Beavis replies with, "Yeah," once again, as Butt-Head then walks up and mentions that he's an assistant manager. Mr. Stevenson then asks again if the milkshakes are made from a mix or the real stuff. Butt-Head says, we have vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Yeah, adds Beavis. Mr. Stevenson, now angry, says forget it, calls the boys idiots, and then he leaves. As Beavis and Butt-Head are standing behind the front counter of Burger World, Butt-Head says, let's go break something. We then see Beavis and Butt-Head outside, out of their work clothes and into their normal clothes. As they sit on the curb of a sidewalk, Butt-Head tells Beavis to pull his finger. Beavis pulls his finger to no sound of a fart. Nothing? Asks Beavis. SBD, says Butt-Head. The boys laugh, and Beavis says, that was cool. And that's the end of episode 12, Beavis and Butt-Head in Customers Suck. Now let's check out the music videos. The first music video we got is Public Image Limited with Rise. Beavis mentions about the singer's spiked hair and says, he's got a hair stiffy. They wind up changing it. Next is Wang Chung with Everybody Have Fun Tonight. The boys conclude that the members of the band sleep in the same bed. Butt-Head asks why the guys are so snotty, and Beavis mentioned that he peed in the gym once, and Butt-Head tells him that he's pretty cool. Next, we've got Wham with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Butt-Head talking about George Michael says, he's smiling at you, Beavis. Shut up, Butt-Head, replies Beavis. Butt-Head says, this guy really likes to show off his butt. Beavis says that his butt sucks. Butt-Head says to Beavis, oh yeah? How do you know? Shut up, Butt-Head. I'll kick your ass, Beavis replies. This looks like a workout tape. But only if you work out to this tape, you end up looking like a wuss, says Beavis. Butt-Head says, this video is making me sick. Then they change it. Next is The Pursuit of Happiness with Cigarette Dangles. As the lyrics of the song are displayed in the video, Butt-Head says, if I wanted to read, I'd go to school. College music sucks, says Beavis. He said dangle, Butt-Head says. Beavis then goes on an intellectual tangent by saying, the angle of the dangle is inversely proportional to the heat of the meat. And last we have Nirvana with Smells Like Teen Spirit. Butt-Head says, this kicks butt, and Nirvana is cool. He also tells Beavis that Seattle is a place where stuff is really cool. And that's your music videos. Now let's get into the fun facts. 2 new characters were introduced in this episode. One was Principal McVicker, and the other one is Mr. Stevenson. So, let's talk about Principal McVicker. Principal McVicker is a bald, overweight man, presumably in his 50s, who has a nervous shaking problem and is high-strung from having to deal with Beavis and Butt-Head as students. He talks with a New England-style accent and stutters, and is seen normally dressed in a gray suit and a green tie. Principal McVicker's attitude towards Beavis and Butt-Head is that he hates them with a passion. In dealing with Beavis and Butt-Head, he's on medication and he also drinks alcohol in his office. The inspiration for the character of Principal McVicker was from the band director Mike Judge had in the 9th grade. Mike was convinced that he was an alcoholic and he would always come into class smelling like liquor. This band director would always be shaking and angry and always make that grumbling and stuttering voice like, oh, hey, oh, stop that, oh. Principal McVicker is voiced by Mike Judge. Now moving on to Mr. Stevenson. He starts out in early episodes as a teacher at Highland High School, but he later takes on another line of work as a businessman. He tends to be tolerant towards Beavis and Butt-Head, as they are seen as a friend to his son Stuart, but he does get angry with them when they mess things up and just make a wreck of his house. Mr. Stevenson's a middle-aged, nervous, and cowardly man, overweight a bit, with brown hair, and he's usually seen wearing a light gray collared shirt and a red necktie. Mr. Stevenson is voiced by Mike Judge. Customers Suck is the 7th episode of Season 2 of Beavis and Butt-Head, and it's the 12th episode overall. IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, gives Beavis and Butt-Head, Customers Suck, a 7.9 out of 10 rating. Now I'll give you my review. My relationship with this episode, I would like to say that I did see it early on when I was a kid, but if I did, I hardly remember it. So I would like to say this is probably the first time I actually coherently seen this episode was just today. And I gotta say, this episode being very early on in the series of Beavis and Butt-Head, this is a solid and good episode. It's definitely a lot better than the previous episode at the sideshow. And the animation, even though it's still gritty and raw, it's pretty good. The details in it are good. You know, it's halfway decently illustrated and animated. I think I'd put this episode pretty far up there as like a must-see episodes. It's one of the gold ones that you have to see. I would say it's a classic episode, to be honest. As I see these early episodes, I'll watch an episode and I'll feel like, all right, this is when they're, getting their feet on the ground and they're starting to roll. And then another episode hits where it's just completely off and I'm just like, what the hell was that? And then I see this episode and I feel like, all right, this is when things are really, tires are hitting the ground and they really got it, I don't know what lies ahead in the next 20 episodes or so, but I just hope it's kind of like from here on up, things get better. I know there's going to be some that are going to be misses, but I want to say right now, this is when they really do start picking up the pace with how Beavis and Butt-Head are and how they wind up becoming in later seasons. So a lot of things in this episode I really thought were great was simply, like, in the beginning, when the Brady Bunch theme song is playing on their TV, and Beavis just moons the TV. He's mooning the Brady Bunch. Just something about that was just really funny to me. Another part is when Beavis pulls the phone out of the fryer, and he's talking to it, and he's like, "Welcome to the world. Can I help you?" As you hear on the other end, you just hear because the phone is, like, disconnected. It's just classic stuff. I love that. Another one is when Butt-Head just tells McVicker to shut up. Because I think anybody that's ever worked in a restaurant and you got customers and, you're told, hey, customer's always right. But you do have those customers that are just annoying and you really do want to tell them to just shut up and go away. So you kind of just, oh, yes, that's Butt-Head's doing exactly what I've wanted to do at certain points in my life. And then also during the music video, the one thing that really got a nice chuckle out of me was when they were watching the Wham music video and Butt-Head tells Beavis that George Michael is smiling at him. It's just good stuff. As you could tell, there's a lot of funny bits in this episode, and I really do enjoy it. And I find that this episode is a straight classic. It is definitely rewatchable and is one of the highlights in season 2 for sure so far. Even though I know there are far better episodes ahead, this is still a good one, and it's not perfect, still has a way to go, but it's still definitely great. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely a classic that you need to watch. So there you go, guys. A 7.5 out of 10 for Beavis and Butt-Head, Customers Suck.